For painting your watercolor midnight sky, you're going to need 6 inches by 9 inches 150-pound cold pressed watercolor paper. You're going to use a masking tape and tape it down on a hard surface like a board. This will prevent the watercolor paper from moving while you're working. It prevents the watercolor paper from buckling when you add water or paint. We're going to paint this midnight sky blue with beautiful indigo blue color. In order for us to make indigo blue, we are going to mix blue, a little bit of purple, and black. Because we're going to use wet and wet technique, we will need pretty large chunk of these paints pre-mixed before using it. So let's go ahead and spend some time making our paints first. Now that we have pre-mixed indigo blue paint, we are going to use wet on wet technique to paint the midnight sky. First, go ahead and use a clean water and use your fingers, or you can use your brushes to spread that clean water, wetting the whole surface of your watercolor paper. Now, wet on wet painting technique is commonly used when you are painting soft washes that are ideal for flowy looks, simple sky, night skies, or landscape. In this case, we're going to use wet on wet paint technique to give a stunning effects of midnight sky blue. We are going to keep the top portion pretty dark and use the remaining paint to gradient down. Once you are done with that, you are going to pick up your whole canvas and just slowly move and tilt your painting down to create this soft, natural effects of midnight sky. Don't tilt it too fast. Take your time, rotate it, tilt it around. We want that natural look to appear in our sky. Once we are done, we are going to assess our gradient. If you feel like your top is not dark enough, this will be great timing for you to add an extra layer of darker colors on the top. We are going to let this naturally dry because we are going to use salt effect on our wet on wet, but we do need to let this sit there for about 5 minutes in natural air. So please do not force hair dry this artwork. So when is the right time for you to add the salt to your watercolor? Well, more water that you have, bigger the dramatic star-like shape you are going to get, and less water that you have on your watercolor is going to have more individualized stardust look that you're going to achieve. Now I have put a puddle of water here with sprinkles of water, and you're going to see this timeless video for a 5-minute drying time, and you're going to see the star shape being really large, like a galaxy. So now I have waited about 5 minutes, and I'm going to sprinkle a little bit more stars around the area, and you're going to see the stars sort of appearing more individualized as we see around the salt, and that is because I had less water for it to grab on. Go ahead and take a look at the surface of your background. When you pick it up and rotate it like so, and you don't see the paints moving around freely as you would before, that means it's a perfect time for you to create that individualized stars on your painting. So you're going to go ahead and keep it down on the surface and sprinkle some salt on top, and you should see the stars appearing. Please do not force this dry. Go ahead and let it naturally dry in an air, and you're going to start seeing the stars appearing on your background. So why does the salt do this to our watercolor paper? And that is because of what's called osmotic potentials. The osmotic potential measures how badly water wants to cross a membrane, like cell's membrane. So when you cover food with a lot of salt, you're basically sucking the water out of the food by raising the osmotic potential between the inside of its cell and the outside. Let it naturally dry for about 10 minutes and you can hair dry it. And next video, I'm going to show you how to complete this painting.